The surf. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? It feels you. Welcome to the Z Lord podcast. So this is teZa going solo. I am in Tulum, Mexico, on a retreat with other women, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to share with you about what's happening on the inside of me during this time. It's a sacred retreat, meaning, what does that mean, sacred retreat? Well, we're doing ritual, we're doing ceremony, we're doing intention, we're doing movement, we're doing meditation, we're doing deep breath work, we're doing integration with ourselves and the other 6 women who are here. There's just 7 of us. That magic number 7. Yes. 7 days of the week. 7 of all sorts of things. Especially in the Mayan calendar. We're here in Mayan territory. The indigenous people have a lot of historical ruins here. And the sacred number 7 is important, as is 4 and 13 for various reasons. I'm not going to go into that. But it's really interesting doing something like this. So special. Just like me time. Some people call it self-care, self-love, self-inquiry, self-reflection. Time to go within and assess, where am I at in my life, in the universe, in my culture, in my quest for not success but fulfillment. Where are all these questions coming from? From within, of course. So this is a special time that I decided to give myself as a gift because I wanted to. I deserve it. And it's the perfect time for me, having just finished a major book, in between waiting for the readers to have their comments and going back into the next and hopefully final edit. But is a project ever finally realized? Well, there does come a time when you say, this is complete and it's good enough, and you either put it aside, or in this case you publish it, or move on to the next one and just let it go. So that's where I'm at with my work, and my family all are taking care of themselves right now. I don't need to do any support, and the rest of my life is free. It's free to explore this at this moment, this given moment. What a gift to give myself. And I urge each and every one of you who is listening to give a gift to yourself, something similar, even if it's just for the moment, for a period of time that could just be the length of a massage, a nice walk down a quiet lane, or a beach, or something quiet with yourself. You, yourself, and your inner self. And in this case, I'm decided to connect with other women because it was necessary for me to do that. That's part of my journey, because I have never done it before. I decided to do a reset. I'm just going to do something totally different than I've ever done before. And lots of things are revealed to us when we do that, when we put ourselves outside of our comfort zone and do things that don't come naturally. It always brings up resources and strengths and empowerments that we didn't actually know we had before. When we put ourselves into a position of newness and being open to exploration, being open to other people, guiding and responding and giving and taking and just having an interconnectedness with a special group of people. I'm not talking about, going to a rally or, something huge. I'm talking about a very special, quiet exploration of the inner life, the soul life, the physical, mental, spiritual life. And what an interesting group of women. We came from all different walks of life, several different cultures represented, several nationalities. Some of us more advanced on the spiritual path, some just neophytes. Some ready to be open to something deeper in life, and one or two very much afraid to do that because they didn't know what to expect. It's the fear of the unknown that we all have that makes some of us hesitate to just push ourselves into a different way of relating to life, way of relating to our own life, our own existence, to do some inner work. Some people go to a shrink and are hoping that the shrink will give them guidance or direction or answers if they are needing questions answered. Other people will go to books. Some people go to their faith. Some people like me have tried all those and above and even more. So this is a new way of exploring my teZa-ness, my beingness. Who am I in this wonderful, magical dance called life? And obviously, those of you who listen to Z Lord notice that Carter's not here. I think that he would be interested in everything that has transpired, but he's not a woman, so therefore he was not allowed to come on this particular journey. And it really would be different if there was a man in the mix, because there's a freedom when you're just with your own sex. There's not that energy that is always underlying, like, how do I look, and how are people thinking about me? And some people in the group actually shared that they feel that more with other women than they do with members of the opposite sex, men. And me, I don't know, I'm pretty uninhibited, but I'm just happy to explore my need to have a deeper relationship with females. And so I'm ready for that. And of course, it's just more difficult if there's men involved. So that's why it's a all-female retreat that I'm on. And today is the last day, and I can just give you a little glimpse of what we've done. I'm not going to go into detail because so much has happened. We've been here a week, and tomorrow we'll be leaving. And so we're at a beautiful beachside resort in Tulum, and everything was prearranged. So all we had to do was show up, literally, just show up with a few articles of clothing and the willingness to participate. And the wonderful facilitator, I'll be sharing more about her, Jocelyn Gordon, and anybody who wants to know about her, you can look on the internet. She has quite a following, but she's a very advanced yogini, has been teaching in various places around the world. And when I met her, just through acquaintances in my hometown, I just was immediately attracted to her open-hearted, wonderful energy. Besides the fact that she's a gorgeous black woman, and her vibe, her physicality is so strong. So I knew that her approach to the spiritual life, and in particular the deeper aspects of doing yoga, which is the intention of seeing the divine everywhere, whether it's through movement or devotion or food, or however. You can practice yoga just by having a nice life, I call keeping a nice home household yoga. So Jocelyn organized this, Jocelyn Gordon, and it was only 2 weeks ago that I said I really wanted to be here because I had come to the completion of my book project. I had not signed up earlier, and she'd been asking people if they wanted to join her for quite a few months. I just did not feel free enough until I came to the completion of my project. So once I signed up, and I said, oh, what am I getting in for? So I was surprised. I had no real clear idea what kind of adventure this would be, but I knew the title of it is Sacred, Sacred Rhythms. That's what it is. Sacred Rhythms is the name of the time that we're spending here. And so the rhythms is everything. The rhythm is the body, what we need to identify in our own beingness, whether it's our mind or our intellect or spirit, and to work on releasing those. We call it a reset, reframe, get it into a different place with so-called blocks, and a lot of deep breathing, a lot of movement. And then there were these extra surprise things that I did not know about that we were going to do, which is like ceremonies performed by Mayan indigenous people, including a clay massage, which is rubbing this really pure clay from certain areas of Mexico, not necessarily here in Tulum, but the clay is purified by, just getting rid of this and that and making it really fine so you can rub it all over your body. And the clay sucks out toxins, and really it was put on with intention by this wonderful curandera, that means like a shaman, a healer. And she also gave me a massage just now, so I'm feeling very mellow. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but I have had so many releases. And the curandera, Maria Helena, she first showed us how to purify our bodies by using this clay ritual. And she herself rubbed the clay on the belly area. So we were all wearing bikinis, and if some gals had a full piece suit on, her hands went right underneath the full suit and rubbed the bellies, because the belly is very important to the indigenous culture, and the energy coming from the belly, and also all different blocks and everything that we accrue in our lifetime from holding on to things, whether they're good things or bad things, they can be released by energy work around the belly, the navel, which is very interesting for energy understanding, energy work. So, and then there's a lot of sound. There was the drums, the flutes, what looked like a didgeridoo that was made out of what looked like a mangrove root, and a lot of sound work and a lot of intention with sense. Anyway, it was a ceremony. For those of you who know about ceremonies, it really elevates your experience of life to do things in a sacred, kind of slow, intentional, with, theater. It's theater, but it's also symbolic. It's not just for show. The life itself is a ceremony. Some people approach it as a sacred event, a sacred ritual, and other people just go through life and don't even realize that it is a sacred tool through which we can attain more than just worldly connections. We can tap into that higher place that we can call the divine and the sacred. And then another ceremony we had was a Mayan sweat lodge, which is called a temezcal. And I had done sweat lodges with indigenous of North America, and this was very similar but different, of course, because the songs that they sang and the instruments they used were attached to their culture, but like any sweat lodge, it's very primitive. We did not go naked, for those of you who are wondering, but we did have the option of taking our clothes off after we got all hot and sweaty from the very beautiful releasing ceremony of the rocks and the steam when we jumped into a cenote, which is something that's very common here in the Yukatan. Cenotes are underground pools, and they're fed by underground rivers, and they are abundant. Some of them are very, very deep, and some of them are medium, and some of them are shallow deep. But this one was close to where we had our temezcal. And once again, there's a lot of intention in that ritual of the sauna. So they first heat up the rocks in a fire that is directly in front of the entrance to the sweat lodge. And the sweat lodge itself represents the womb of our own birth, and also the womb of the earth itself, and the womb of the universe. So we're going back to the womb. We're going back to that place that is dark and damp, but filled with wonderful possibilities, because we have the opportunity to leave a lot of our stuff behind through the songs and the rituals and the chanting and the screaming and the yelling and the quiet, and everything happens that can be imagined inside of a sweat lodge. And we had a wonderful group, the 7 of us who were doing the sweat lodge, and we were led by a man named Carlos, who is himself a Mexican man, born in Mexico City, but he is taking it upon himself to spread the message of the Mayan rituals wherever he can. So he is not a native to the Yukatan, but he came here to learn more about his own culture, like going back to his roots. And so the ceremony itself was very releasing, very freeing, and to participate in any ceremony, whether it's as simple as receiving the blessing of another person who says, "I bless you," or we're going up to receive communion in a church, or participating with people who like to say grace before their meals, or just having a little ritual of the way you clean your body in the shower, or the way you shave your legs, or not that I do, but a lot of people do. There's all sorts of rituals that we have. The ritual of Nadal before he's ready to strike his tennis ball. Of course, he's retired now, but I used to love watching Nadal go through his little ritual. He had all sorts of little ticks. He poked this and he pulled that, and it looked like he was actually digging inside of his butt, for God's sakes. But that was his special ritual. He never, served in a tennis game without doing his ritual. So the sweat lodge was a major part of our journey here with the ritual. And then the massage that I just had was ritualized. It was not just a relaxation or a deep tissue. Like in the States, we have these different forms of massage you can choose from, shiatsu or so many different varieties. But this was a Mayan sacred massage, and it was very unusual. There was a lot of work around the navel, a lot of pressing of energy around the navel. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was very powerful. I could feel that was the portal, through which I came into life. That's where I was connected to my dear mother, Eve Mary, and that's where I was able to release a lot of stuff just by having the intention, as well as the fingers of the beautiful masseuse, the Mayan lady Maria Elena, who was working on capturing this energy that, sensitive people can feel it in their fingers. They can feel it trapped in your tissue, in the fascia, or in your joints. or in your aura. I mean, I'm not that sensitive, but I certainly know how to release when I have a problem. I don't want to hang on to it. I would say take it. I mean, whatever you can do. If you can release a block by touching, by showering me with flower petals and scents, and doing a smudge with kopal, which is the incense they use here, which is a resin from a tree, very similar to frankincense. All these things add up, and release. That's what I've been doing for the last 6 days. Today's the 7th. I'm still releasing by sharing with you. I'm being free with my perspective about the act of going into an experience and really being happy to release. So, my friends, there's so much more I could share, but I think that that's enough for now. Maybe you could just take a moment and be with me, and let's pretend that this is a ceremony, and let's pretend. Imagine that you have awareness of some block that you're working on. Perhaps it's fear, perhaps it's concern, perhaps it's shame, perhaps it's jealousy, perhaps it's anger, perhaps it's unnameable. You just feel blocked. And that's okay. You don't have to have a name for everything. So just give yourself a little scan. Just pretend there's like a little magic wand that you're waving from top to bottom. And you're trying to identify a little area of your life, or a big one, whatever. It may be very obvious to you, or maybe you're unaware of any block. But why not try this? Just scan with your mind and see if there's any energy, whether it's your body, your mind, your spirit, your relationships, your fear of the unknown. Just for a moment, see if there is something in you that you would like to be rid of, to offer up to the universe from where it came. You can send it back to where it came from, which is, creation. Call it whatever you want. You may be comfortable with calling it God, or the divine, or nature, or the mystery. Sending something back that you don't want to where it came from is what we're doing here. Just with a few breaths, see if there's something that you would like to be rid of. Okay, so once you have identified something, whether it's even just the unknown, okay, just say, if you can't come up with something, just say, I would like to get rid of anything that I need to get rid of, but I don't know what it is. That's fine. Now all you have to do is recognize that you are aware of this awareness. That's the first step, being aware of either a specific thing or just knowing that you would like to be a little happier, a little more expanded, a little freer, a little more comfortable in your skin, whatever it is. It doesn't have to have a name. Awareness is the very first step in transformation. And a ritual, we can make it a ritual out of what Carter and I are always sharing with so many episodes about awareness being the beginning of change, positive change. And then the next step is acceptance of this awareness. And then the final step is being able to take action so a transformation can take place. So the very first thing, once you have the awareness, then the acceptance stage may happen instantaneously. Just say, oh, I've got this and I want to be free of it. Or for some people, it may take more than that. It may take a few times of going back into accepting the behavior or the thought or the block. Just keeps coming up over and over until finally you say, yes, I accept that this thing is here. And I do so want to change and transform myself. So then, whether it's instantaneously or it takes you a little longer, hopefully not too long, because now you have the awareness, it's going to be hard for you to sit with the fact that you are aware of having challenge. You're going to be anxious to move on and transform it into something positive. And so once you have come to that completion of the acceptance stage, then you can take some action. And what could the action be? It could be as simple as saying, I release it. I make a statement to myself. You don't have to tell anybody else. I release it. I am ready, able, and willing to release this block, whatever it is, this challenge, this thing that's holding me back from feeling completely at one with this thing called life. Take a deep breath. Another one. One last one. And just like that, it is done. And so it is. You may have to do the action a few times or many times, but you are in the process, you are in the flow of transforming whatever was holding you back into something that is going to take you more expanded, more deeply, more profoundly, more truly, more authentically into who and what you are. My blessings to you all. Thank you for joining me in this beautiful ritual, this sacred ritual, the rhythm of life, the rhythm of accepting that life itself is awesome if we can just get out of our own way and let go of whatever is holding us back. I love you. If nobody else has told you that today, Carter always laughs at this, but it's true. That's how I feel. I do love you. We are one. Om Namah Shivaya.